right, let's get right into it. So, last one we spoke about Tomball. Let's check out Pearland next. So, we're going to go back into US news. We're going to search Pearland. Hopefully, I'm spelling that right. And I have the names of the districts for each one here. Now, mind you, some of these are going to touch other districts. Like, for example, if you're in Cypress, if you're in Katy, parts of Katy are going to touch Cypher ISD. And if you're in Cypress, some parts are going to touch Houston ISD. Some parts are going to be. So it just depends where you land. So just be very mindful of that. It's not every district is for each city, but it's a majority of it, right? So while that loads, I want to show you exactly where Pearland is, and we'll just type Pearland here. So Pearland, the interesting thing is it's seen a big resurgence in terms of development and investment dollars going into the area, which is great because it's in a great location for folks to build a home, call it home. There's plenty of areas around there, not particularly inside Pearland, but areas around Pearland that are being developed, highly developed, like Fresno. If you go a little further east, there's some highly desirable areas. So I think Pearland or Friendswood, Pearland is falling into one of these areas. It's becoming one of these areas that's going to be a very desirable, if not already, by the time you watch this. But yeah, so it's south of Houston. I don't say South Houston because South Houston is this over here. And also not to be confused with Pasadena. That's a whole different ballgame. But let's get into some numbers. So for the rent average, again, for all these numbers, and I can share this with you, this is for a 3-bed, 2-bath, spacious 3-bed, 2-bath. I mean, you can find something cheaper, but it's going to be a little tighter fit. Between $2,000 and $2,400 a month. And then when it comes to, let's see, home averages, so we forgot to put this in the last video, but we saw a huge increase in 2020 to 2021, and that's all throughout, right? So let's fill this out together. So for the last one, we said Tomball, you were in the low 300s, high 280s, and right 200s, high 200s. So for Pearland, it's this climb. Let's take a look at Pearland. So again, I like to take a look at the number right before the sharp increase in the middle of 2020 to 2022, just because we're seeing a dramatic cool off towards the end of 2022, and also because a lot of these numbers can be skewed by all the new construction development in the area. So I would say safely you could assume that you're much like the Tomball area. You could comfortably afford to buy a decent home in the low 300s. I think Pearland lends itself to being a little bit more expensive than Tomball, not by much. So 300 to 320, and again, this is just based on like 3-bed, 2-bath, comfortable 3-bed, 2-bath. Of course, not all not all buyers and not all families and not everybody's going to look for that same size home. So, it could be a little more, it could be a little less. Actually, I was in Pearland not too long ago looking at some homes, but we were looking for a 5 bedroom and a newer 5 bedroom. It was like in the 360 actually, 360 range. So, it is still quite attainable to have something that's affordable. So let's get into the school really quickly. So much like Tomball, similar numbers um, as far as like the student body and student to teacher ratio. So your demographics, and then a few more schools. Let's look at, okay. So number for teachers, a slightly higher graduation rate. I like to see that for Pearland. That's good. Awesome. And then, like I said, you can use this resource, usnews.com, and research specific schools in here. This is what I use. This is where I refer all my clients and get all my information, because it's just data, right? You can't fudge the numbers. It's what's reported. It's what it is. So let's look at crime. So Tomball, we said it was an A plus, meaning no crime. And then for Pearland, let's take a look here. So here's the situation. We have lots of activity off to the east of Pearland. Pearland itself, not a whole lot. So this is a good rule of thumb, and I'm glad we came across this. You tend to see more reported activity inside the beltway, and then look at how it drops off outside the beltway. And this is for the last, I want to say we have it set for the last 3 months. There's a bubble, there's a few here and a few here, but if you're looking at the Pearland area, not so much. You'd have to go to find crime more consistently. You have to go inside the beltway. Now, again, crime can happen anywhere. I just had a friend's Tesla stolen in a gated community. So, things happen. So that's all I have for you on Pearland. We'll catch you on the next one.